Minutes. Hey. Yes. We live. Welcome to All Things Self Mastery. This is Thursday evening where we discuss all things mastery. So you can not only master yourself, but you can master your reality. What do I mean? Okay, a lot of us are sad. A lot of us are depressed. A lot of us are feeling hopeless. There is an overwhelming energy that many of us are in. And although I love giving desirable messages, this is the place where we also give the undesirable truth so we can do what? Help you position yourself into experiencing the life that you want to live. I am your host, Venus Scott, and I am going to be right back after this pause for the cause message. This evening, we're going to be talking about scarcity, overcoming depression, and overcoming lack. And we will be right back, right? And we are back. We are back again. Welcome. And listen. It's time to take a break. Let's do that. Let's set the energy, right? Let's take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, because a lot of us are doing things the wrong way. A lot of us are doing things the wrong way. So welcome, my loves. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Remember that you are not here by coincidence, happenstance, or just simply by luck. You are here because you are supposed to be here. So listen, just sit still for a second and learn something. This evening, we're going to be talking about overcoming fear, scarcity, and lack. And like always, I want to make sure I mention, especially to my TikTok family, I am streaming on my Tube channel, which is All Things Mastery. If you want to see the presentation, if you know the importance of visuals, right? If you know the importance of subliminal messaging, visual messages, this is also how we reprogram our mind. This is also how we deeply embed our new program so we can live a different life, the life that we want to. Infinite gratitude for tapping the screen. So if you want to hop on over to my Tube channel, you're more than welcome. I actually encourage it. If you want to hop, skip, and jump over there, just click the link in my bio. There is a tab further to the bottom, near the bottom of the screen, and it'll beam you over right on to my channel. Okay, so we're going to get started. Why are we talking about overcoming fear? Why are we talking about scarcity? Why are we talking about lack? First and foremost, the views, images, and perspectives expressed in this show, All Things Mastery, and this presentation are those of the speaker, me, Venus Scott, and don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of YouTube and TikTok or book. The contents presented in this are that of my own. If you are below the age of 18, if you are immature, mentally, spiritually, or physically, okay, this is not the live for you. A lot of things that I'm going to say will trigger your cognitive dissonance. However, when you gain a different perspective, you know that that's a really great thing. So if you're joining me from my Tube channel, please make sure you say hey love, hey in the comments so I can acknowledge you. Peace, gorgeous. How are you, my love? So I can acknowledge you. So before we get into it, why are these lessons absolutely imperative? And I'm going to share a story with you, a very short story with you in a minute, right? And so for the men and women who are mature, the men and women who understand that it takes change to see change, it takes acting in order to create action. Sheena, I see you. Hey, my love. See, Sheena know what it is. Sheena's serious about changing her life. Welcome to this side of town where, you kind of block out the noise, right? Because on TikTok, it's easy just to scroll. It's easy just to scroll. However, that isn't necessarily happy, but that healthy. That's not the lie for this evening. So who's this masterclass for? Who's all the information for, right? These are for our free thinkers. These are for the men and women who want to gain more clarity and discover what we truly want, right? These are the men and women who's serious about changing the trajectory of their life, not only for them, but their loved ones. These are for the women and men who not just shout in empowerment, but they're actually getting into alignment to be empowered. It's not just a shake and a rumble. It's not just a hoop and a howl. Okay, we're actually getting active, standing on business, as the young people say. This is for the men and women who want to harness their power, who want to relearn a lot of dysfunctional programs that we were taught to abide by. This is for the energy masters, those who want to take control over their life. So if that's not you, by all means, honey. So a little bit about me. I am an expert self-mastery mentor and educator. I have been teaching for more than 15 plus years. My current studies are in the areas of psychology, metaphysics, neuroscience, especially neuro-linguistic programming. I am an Army veteran, okay? I am also a best-selling self-published author of 3 books currently. I am also the visionary behind All Things Self-Mastery Incorporated. I am not only self-educated, I am universally, cosmically educated, right? Because how many of you know that everything that you need to know, every source of information is dating back from before you even got here, is within you. So the first resource that you will ever have, that you have access to, is within you. External knowledge, external information is really all good. However, that should not be what we're solely relying on. So currently my studies are in psychology, metaphysics, neuroscience, behavior analytics, cognitive programming, right? And just so you know, I was a former member on the hamster wheel, baby. I was running on that hamster wheel going backwards real fast. Let me say that again. I too was running on that hamster wheel going backwards real fast. I too was dealing with deep states of depression. I too was dealing with poverty. I too was dealing with lack, right? So not only do I have internal and external knowledge, information that is indisputable, scientifically and spiritually backed, baby, I lived it. And so if I couldn't tell you, if I couldn't pinpoint and show you any other example, baby, I'm it. Okay. And if it resonates with you, this is why you are supposed to be here. So again, this evening, we're talking about overcoming fear, scarcity, and lack. And here's the thing: as committed. Peace, DJ. How are you? As committed. So earlier, and this is not the first time. However, this is one video that stood out to me. Right? It's not the only one. It's not the only one. I constantly hear things like this because I work one-on-one with individuals who are currently in the process of overcoming fear, overcoming scarcity, overcoming limited belief system. Right? Old programmers, all people that just want to change their life. However, this particular story, right? This is from a well-known creator. I know a lot of you may have seen, a lot of you may see a lot of creators, right, that are crashing and burning. And I speak about those things all the time. However, this particular young lady, she touched me in a certain way. And it was relatable. However, the emotions did not move me as much as it would have moved me in the past, right? Meaning, I felt empathy for her, right? Because if you are a righteous being, if you are a pure being, we don't wish any harm on no one. We absolutely wish that more people will experience genuine and pure love, pure happiness, pure joy. And a lot of times, people are going to come into your life to do 2 things. They're either going to reflect, mirror to you, your higher self or your lower self. And this particular young lady, she was crying, right? Well, she wasn't really crying, but you can see it, or she was teary-eyed. You can sense, right? Because we're energy sensors, right? We all sense energy. If you're a human being, if you're a spiritual being, beautiful soul, we can sense energy. A lot of us, even though we aren't tapped into it, we can still sense other people's energy. And I can tell she was deeply sad, right? However, with that, I've been seeing this young lady for years, right? I do like a lot of her messages. She's a young lady in this particular sense. So I have a lot of information to come to an analysis, to come to a wise conclusion, especially because I do the work that I do. So she was expressing that she was about to take a break from social media, right? And we hear this all the time. So many people are either encouraging us, right? Advising us to take a break from social media. Take a break from social media. I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why. However, the top three is because it causes mental dysfunction. It causes you to continually be programmed, right? By other people, places, and things. Watching people 20, well, some of 12 hours, 16 hours a day. It causes mental fog, right? Mental fog. It blocks you from acting on and focusing on things that you should be focusing on instead of getting caught up in the warp of scrolling all day, every day. And so she goes to say that she was feeling very, very sad, right? She was feeling complacent. And this is not the only time that she mentioned this. This is a well-known creator. And she was like, listen, so don't bother me. Like that was quote unquote, don't bother me. Don't look for me. Don't ask me no questions. I don't want to, I don't want to talk, right? First of all, now here's the thing before I say things that I want to say, and this is gonna sting a little bit for a lot of us. It's gonna sting a little bit for a lot of us because a lot of us are going through exactly what she's going through, right? The undesirable truth is you can absolutely avoid sadness, excessive, extreme sadness. You can absolutely avoid excessive or extreme depression, anxiety, fear, lack, right? Living, you can absolutely avoid that. However, the same individuals, just like the individuals that I'm speaking about, and I'm speaking more to her actions, not pertaining or not particularly her. I'm speaking to the actions, right? Because she's one of thousands of women and men who feel like this. Here's the undesirable truth. First of all, you're online, right? You're online. If you want to do something, just do it. If you want to do something, just do it. The psychological strongholds that the algorithms and the frequencies and the energies, right? And the spells, right? That goes into these platforms. If you are not careful, if you do not have power over yourself as much as you think you may do, if you truly do not understand who you are, if you truly don't have discipline in a lot of areas, not just one area, a lot of areas, it will consume you. That's what is designed to do. Do you not know that TikTok made over $6 billion thus far? And I'm sure the numbers are growing. Over $6 billion. Now, don't just think about the money. Think of the amount of people who were walked into like zombies, just making purchase after purchase after purchase. And what I know is that a large percentage of them brought a lot of shit that they did not need. A lot of them brought things that will not serve them for the purpose that they are complaining about. Tying it to this young lady's story, she's now feeling an overwhelming amount of sadness and hurt and disparity and depression, right? I always say just because you think something, just because you speak something, right? Just because you can articulate something doesn't mean you have a grasp or understanding of that thing, right? Especially when your actions are not lining up with your thoughts or the new thoughts, right? Instead, our internal dialogue, our internal database, right, is now spewing out of us. Eventually, Eventually, if you continue to feed something, it's going to continually grow. I say this all the time. What you feed will gain power, and what you starve will lose power. And a lot of what we're seeing, just like in the young lady and countless of other men and women, right, is the manifestations, the materializations of what they've been feeding unknowingly. And so this young lady, although she's like, I need to take a break, I need to cover my mental, I need to be mindful of my mental health, right? And you hearing that a lot. I need to worry about mental health, mental health, mental health. We're hearing about mental health all the time. However, what we're not hearing enough of is the undesirable truth. A lot of us are deeply depressed because we caused it. A lot of us are deeply saddened because we caused it. We manifested it. We attracted it. A lot of us are going through the turmoil. A lot of us are moving from house to house, to house to house. A lot of us are just, a lot of people in our lives are just removing themselves from our lives. A lot of people lives are playing ping pong with them through poverty, through anxiety, through depression, through loneliness, through sadness, and you have a lot to do with it. That's what we're not hearing. We're hearing a lot about how important mental health is. However, we're not given the undesirable truth. You know why? Baby, because it's going to sting and it's going to hurt. We're not telling the truth that a lot of us are lazy. We're not telling the truth that a lot of us a lot of us will choose to beg, borrow, and steal. A lot of us will choose to give our energy to begging other people to do something that we can do for ourselves. A lot of us are begging for a handout and not a helping hand. Oh, this message is for everyone, especially those who are struggling, right? And so this live is dedicated to not only that young lady, whether she's here or not, but to the thousands of other young ladies and men. You need to hear the truth. Your life is the way it is because of you and the decisions you have made. Now, in this young lady's case, right, she openly, like many of us, she openly expressed how promiscuous she was being. Not only that, encouraging other people. Like, it's okay, live your life. I have sexual needs, and yeah, I'm being a little bit sarcastic. I have sexual needs, and I just want to be pleased. And this is how she was going about. Her actions and behaviors contributed to her current sadness. Her actions and behaviors contributed to her mental flaw. Her actions and her behaviors contributed to her feeling displaced, wondering why nothing is making her happy. That's a lot of us today. But we don't want to hear that. We want to hear about, oh, teach me how to get rich quick. Teach me how to attract the man in my brokenness. Teach me how to attract the man in my or woman in my loneliness. Teach me how to get a quick fix. Teach me how to make a quick 7, 8,000 or even $500. Teach me how to buy a new bag. Teach me how to do all of these things instead of teach me how to overcome the things that I'm currently attracting, because these are my dominant magnets to what I'm attracting. So we don't want to hear that. Why? Because if somebody tells us the truth, if someone tells us the undesirable truth, it's hating. We got to be hating. It's hating. We're jealous. We're envious. Baby, ain't nobody envious of depression. I don't know anybody in their right mind that'll be jealous of a person that's depressed. I don't know anybody in their right mind that will be jealous of a person that their focus is all over the place. I don't know anyone in the world that would trade peace for disparity. Currently, knowingly, there's the catch, knowingly, right? So why is this important? Why is understanding you living in currently, you being overwhelmed with scarcities, fears, and lack? When it comes to money, when it comes to healthy relationships, when it comes to romantic love, when it comes to pure love, when it comes to opportunities, when it comes to all of that. Severe sadness and depression are caused by a combination of what? our psychological, biological, and environmental factors. All of these things play a part. There is no such thing as you only operated in one aspect of yourself, i.e., physically, and your spiritual and your mental not being affected. What causes these things? Because only when you learn what the deep root is in connection with these things, that's when you can start to change it. Only when you are mentored or coached, right, or trained on how to prevent depression, deep states of depression, how to not live in fear, how to not live in scarcities. A lot of us right now are living with anxiety. A lot of us are in depression and going through all of the turmoils, especially around these holidays, right? The stats show that at least 90%, pardon me, up to 90% of the 8+ billion people on this earth experience deep states of depression, anxiety, loneliness, scarcity, and lack around the months of November, December, and January. It don't stop there. February, and March and April. Why? Because we done spent all this money. We done been feeding anxiety unknowingly. We've been feeding, right, us remaining in poverty unknowingly. And when it comes to these New Year's resolutions, and when it comes to the mindset that we actually need to reprogram, we're not doing it. And so we're deeply depressed. We want to be isolated in an unhealthy way. Now we want to pull back. Now we want to tell people don't bother us. Now we want to stop doing the things that we used to love. Why? Because all of the things you've been unknowingly feeding is now compounded and now is being materialized in your life. So what do you think is going to happen when you're just running around sleeping with people? And I did a self-mastery lesson on actual exchange, right? How dangerous it can be. And it doesn't matter whether you have a long-term partner, short-term partner, significant other. It don't matter if you have a husband or a wife. A lot of us are exchanging our actual energy, right? And we're not really understanding how it is damaging us. We're not understanding, and it is no tea, no shade. It is not to diminish healthy relationships, healthy partnerships, healthy marriages. What I am saying is that just because you spent 2 years, 20 years, 40 years in a relationship does not mean that it is spiritually, mentally, soulfully beneficial for you. Because oftentimes a lot of us are unhappy. Infinite gratitude. Thank you so much for the share, right? So all of these things are important. So this young lady is expressing how she's really sad, how she's going to disappear, and she don't want nobody bothering her. She's speaking to her audience. These are the people who have supported you, not only mentally paid attention to your live, was a contributor of the money that you've been getting paid on social media platforms, right? These are people that have invested in you. However, you're not going in your message, in your complaint, you're not thanking these individuals. You don't want empathy. Or shall I say, you probably want empathy. You want someone to feel sorry for you. Come on, let's just be honest. A lot of the men and women who is on these lives begging and borrowing and now bitching and moaning and complaining, and I'm not taking away from those who are genuinely in these states. I'm talking about the ones who sit and contemplate and press play on the World Wide Web, on the social medias with all the tears, all of this. In the same amount of energy that is taking you to beg people who may know you, who don't know you, the amount of energy is causing you to say whatever you're saying online is the same energy you could be investing in getting your ass off of social media. It's the same energy that you can be invested in reading a book or two. I'm going to say that again. It's the same energy that you can actually sit and really meditate, really sit with yourself, really take responsibility and accountability and ownership as to why you're on social media begging, borrow, and crying in the first place. We have been programmed to massage to stupidity. We have been programmed to massage foolish behaviors. We have been programmed to pity individuals who time after time after time after time again make the same unhealthy decisions, right? So when we are feeling hopeless, when we're operating in lack, when we're operating in scarcity, right? When we're operating in poverty, when our life is consumed by those things, how do you expect things to change? 1 minute you up, 1 minute you down, 1 minute you up, 1 minute you down. And your reality is not your reality isn't lining up with the things that you should be focused on, which is more peace, more clarity, setting yourself up so you can be happy 80% of the time more than you are miserable half of the time. And a lot of these people have money. A lot of these people have money. A lot of these people have materialistic possessions. A lot of these people have all of these things. A lot of these people think that they can just be promiscuous. A lot of these people think that they can just use people. A lot of these people think that they can just what is it called? It's not it's the opposite of it instead of exchange, right? What I want to say is that a lot of people have the mentality of what are you going to do for me? What are you going to give me? Instead of having the perspective of the exchange. What you may deem valuable, someone else may not deem valuable. But if you're constantly finding yourself depressed, if you're constantly finding yourself lonely, if you're finding yourself in environments that isn't healthy for you, do you think that you should ask yourself, you know what is it that I'm doing? What am I indirectly feeding? Exactly, it's the truth. What are my thoughts, my inward thoughts? What are the pro? And this is what I mean. Why neuroscience is important, why understanding awareness. And I'm not just talking about surface level awareness. I'm not, because a lot of us aren't as aware as we think we do. Because if that young lady was as intelligent as she says she is, if she was as emotionally intelligent as she speaks, if she was as wise as she thought, if she was on top as she continually blurts out, there's no way that you should be miserable more times than you are happy. Ain't no way. This isn't the first time that I've seen the same young lady do the same live, expressing how sad she is, expressing that she don't know what she doing, expressing that she thinks something is wrong with her as to why men are not picking her. This is the same young lady that's completely confused. This is the same young lady that is chasing the bag. This is the same young lady that is bruised, broke, and broken and sad and plays a lot. Think it's okay to sleep around. That think it's okay to unwisely do things. These are the same people. So when I talk about awareness, a lot of us aren't as aware as you think. Why is this message important? Just look at the state of a lot of us today. Look at the state that we're in. I'm not saying who because I'm not messy, but that's that, right? Infinite gratitude. Right? A lot of the creators that we love, a lot of the creators that we see on a daily basis, and a lot of you know this for yourself because you see them every other month or every 3 months, every 4 months, they are coming before the world wide web telling you that they need to digress, they need to take a break. And it's not so they can rejuvenate, it's not so they can be refreshed, it's not so much that they need to download, it's not so they can take time to educate themselves, is not so they can maintain their purity, is not so they can maintain their peace, so they can maintain their joy, so they can maintain this quote unquote status that they think they're in, that they're lying to others that they're in. No, A lot of us are taking breaks because we're about to crash and burn or have crashed and burned. A lot of us are talking about how we taking a break because we now are so depressed. We are now so lonely. We are now so confused. We are now discombobulated. We are now experiencing. We are now jumping around from place to place to place to place. We are now begging, robbing, and stealing. There is a difference between sitting your ass down to rejuvenate, to feed, to keep your cup full, than to need to take a break because you are about to crash and burn. Even though I understand the statistics as to why does it take many of us to hit the wall several times until we split our domes open for us to realize that there's something that I'm missing. There's something that needs to change. I cannot keep going through this. A lot of us are living in this scarcity. A lot of us living in scarcity, right? How do you see their life? You got God's eye. What do you think has been going on? Well, Crown, for one, I am far from silly. Number two, they telling their story online. Number three, if you are connected, if you are in tune, if you have intuition, you can read anyone's energy, right? Let me help you out because I see you a little bit disruptive. Let me help you out, Crown. There you go. Let me just help you on out, honey. Right? So when it comes to living in fear, when it comes to living in scarcity and poverty, right? Poverty, pardon me, right? These things are contributed to persistent self-critical, you being self-critical, we being self-critical, hopelessness, pessimistic thinking, right? Hopelessness, right? All of these things, when you are constantly feeling depressed, lonely, pessimistic, just sad, just having contempt, right? Understand that those feelings, those frequencies, those energies not only make you more susceptible, right, to the targets, they also reinforce more feelings of sadness, more feelings of you feeling worthless, right? Because let's just be honest, a lot of us aren't as confident as we may think for various reasons. I'm not going to get into it, right? A lot of us inwardly, knowingly or unknowingly don't think we are deserving to not struggle. A lot of us inwardly, unknowingly think that we are not deserving of just happiness. We're not deserving of opportunities that we actually want, that we're not deserving of a fine man, whoever you deem fine, right? Or a fine woman, right? That's going to be loving and kind and going to hold you accountable with righteousness, with love, and with care. That's going to consider you. That's not going to ghost you or gaslight you or leave you high and dry. A lot of us are so just in such a despair, and then we're blaming it on God or whatever you call God. Also, you cannot take accountability for the actions and the decisions that you made. As to the reason why, as to the 90% reason why you are feeling how you feel, especially when you're telling it to everybody. You are randomly sleeping with men on the same night or randomly sleeping with women on the same night, and you're complaining about why men don't pick me, why men don't choose me. You're constantly focused on everybody else and everything else instead of what your focus should be. If you actually want financial freedom, if you actually want a significant other or a partner, take accountability. It's all good when you attract or manifest something wonderful, right? But then it is also God's doing if you also don't attract what and who you desire. Make up your mind. When are you going to hold yourself accountable? Right? We're talking about holding ourselves accountable, right? So I'm not just here to give you the desirable truth, even though that's a part of it. However, there's been too much coddling, poor behaviors, right? And if we say we truly love each other, right, we also are encouraged to tell the undisputed, undisputed truth. And that is that a lot of us are causing our self-inflicted pain. Yet you think that you can continually make the same decisions over and over again and things get better. No, they're getting worse. Just because you don't know you're feeding something doesn't mean that you're not feeding that. That's not what it means. I know I deserve to not have to struggle. I say Ashe, Sierra, absolutely. Right. But how with that, a lot of people don't inwardly know. Right, pardon me, and we tell on ourselves all the time. So you feel we shouldn't tell stories online or be curious? Absolutely not. You should speak. You have a voice. You should speak. However, what I am saying is that there is a balance, there is a harmony to everything. And a lot of things that we're currently doing, we don't have an understanding of. Prime case in point. The stories you continually tell are the stories you continually live, right? And that is true. So if you continually repeating how hurt you were, right? If you continually telling a story how your mother abused you, your father abused you, your teachers abused you, your siblings abused you. If you're constantly repeating the story that you had to struggle, that's where the what you feed gains power and what you starve loses its power. And that's evident everywhere, all around you. And I always give this simplest example. What happens if you stop watering a plant? What happens? The trauma. You constantly telling the trauma. It's okay if you tell a story every now and again. However, a lot of us do not understand because we don't know the fundamentals and the foundations of neuroplasticity. We don't understand neuroscience. We don't understand how neural networks work, neural networks and neural pathways work. We don't have a deeper understanding of what energy is and how it affects us. We don't have a deep enough understanding of what the levels of awareness are. We talk about it, oh, it's conscious and subconscious and unconscious. We talk on surface level things, yet we're down spiraling. We're still crashing and burning. Well, there's a reason for that. So I'm not saying don't tell the story. What I'm saying is be mindful how many times you repeat a story, because whether you like it or not, know it or not, accept it or not, no one is excluded from universal laws, baby. Especially my favorite called cause and effect. The universe, God concept, the divine infinite source of creation, how the universe work, how your reality work, baby, you're going to get exactly what you give. Simple, because that's what you're indirectly feeding it. Do you think a plant is going to grow anyway if you not watering it, if you not speaking love to it, or if it's in a horrible environment? No, it doesn't matter. It's just not going to be like, well, oh, I know you forgot to, water me Sunday. Oh, you forgot 7 more days went by. Oh, 7 more days went by. Now it's a month later, and you wondering why the leaves are withering. You wondering why the green is not vibrant. You wondering why it's not growing. You're wondering why the soil is dry. You're wondering why it's not beautiful. You haven't been feeding it. It don't give a damn about your excuses. It don't give a damn about the relevant or irrelevance of your justification, rhymes, or reason. If you stop feeding something, it's going to lose its essence and lose its power. If you continue to feed something, it's going to gain power and be strengthened. It's the same thing with repeating the stories. That's why I say the stories you repeatedly tell are the stories you continually live. Why? Because you're indirectly feeding it. If you understood the way we say we understand energy, everything is energy and everything is frequency. There's no such thing as the universe or God concept or divine or Jesus or whoever you want to call it plays favoritism to you. We have been under this delusion for centuries. It's not working. It's not working. Right? Thank you, Sierra. Absolutely. You don't get to decide my life by buying a TV network or made enough. Ashe, it makes a lot of sense. They exploit their pain instead of, yes, they exploit their pain, right? And a lot of them aren't doing it. It's not, again, I don't know why I have to say things like this, but I will. A lot of them are not doing it because they are sincere. A lot of them are doing it because they know people are always going to relate to trauma. People are always going, a lot of people are going to be bonded to trauma. A lot of people are going to be sympathetic, and that's natural. I just watched I was watching something today, and damn it, I was crying because I'm like, no, he was so sweet. He got bit by the zombie. And I'm like, no, he's so sweet. Like, I don't want him to go. He treated everybody with kindness, right? But and towards the end, he got bit by the zombie and he had the disease, or what they call it, right? I felt that that's naturally supposed to happen. However, I am more concerned with what are the results. Why are you truly doing this? Because a lot of them are doing it for what? More views equal more money. More pity equals a bigger party, which includes nowadays more money. You don't really want to change because every other month, now you're good. Now you're great. I can almost guarantee you that this same lady is going to come back up here once she got some energy, once she had a break, and going to continue to sleep around with random people. So the question is, did you really want support from people, or did you just want to bitch, moan, complain? What was your true intention behind it? Right? Just look at the results. Right? Just look at the results. So when it comes to, when I see people that are deeply depressed, when I see people that are really sad, when I see people that are begging and borrowing, when I see all of these things, yes, I have compassion. I do have compassion. However, when you truly start to master self, when you truly start to step in, if it is one of your divine purposes for this time in this realm, which I know that one of my soul spiritual purposes is to do exactly what I'm doing, to guide and to lead. And one of the prerequisites for that is for me to have taste, or to continue to taste from time to time, depending on the season and the level that I'm in, exactly what I am teaching on. So when I tell you about living in being consumed by depression, being consumed by fear, being consumed by lack and poverty and all of these different things, baby, I tasted it. Many of us have. And to effectively do what I'm doing right now, right? I had to understand, overstand, understand the things that I'm teaching you now. Not only that, I had to train. 15 plus years I've been doing this work. So I'm not telling you nothing that I already haven't done myself. I don't slip into depression every other week no more, every other month. I don't. I don't repeat the same stories every other week, every other month. I'm not being kicked out of home. Well, that I ain't gonna say that, but right. I'm not hopping from home to home to home, even though that part wasn't in my story, right? I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul. I have everything that I need. I'm not begging nobody for nothing. I'm not pleading nobody for nothing. I don't wait till income tax to get excited and then miserable come March, April, May. Right? I am at peace. Does that mean even I'm excluded from experiencing the polar opposite of certain things? Absolutely not. What it do means is what I'm teaching you now. I've learned to master it instead of it mastering me. So fear doesn't control me. Do I get fear? Do I be scared a little bit every now and again? Absolutely, baby. But guess what now? It don't control me. Fear don't dictate my decisions. Scarcity or fear in the unknown don't dictate my decisions. I don't soak, I don't sorrow, I don't beg, I don't borrow. Those was bars, by the way. I don't soak, I don't borrow, I don't beg, whatever I just said. I can never repeat the bar. This is why I'm not an artist. This is why I don't rap. Right? Every now and again, there's a little bar in there. And I think I'm some type of artist right now, right? So how do we break free from it? Right? I'm teaching you. What's the album dropping? I don't steal, I don't beg, I don't borrow, I don't sorrow, right? Something like that. It's gonna be something along those lines, right? I don't. That's gonna be the title of the album. I don't. I don't do that anymore. And it's been consistent. It's been consistent. So when I tell you that it's important, it's imperative for you to get with someone, whether it don't matter what the quote unquote title or quote unquote certificate that they have. When I tell you it is imperative for you to get with, connect with someone that has mastered the things that you need to master in these particular areas. Otherwise, things are not going to change for the better. They're going to change for the worse. Why? Because this is an indisputable truth that nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing is still. Everything moves. There's always going to be an exchange. There's always going to be, you're either going forward, backwards, left, right, up, down, right? There's no such thing as things staying the same. They get worse. They get worse because we've been knowingly or unknowingly feeding it. So why is this important? In order for you to break free from depression, fear, scarcities, lack, and all of these different things, and in order for you to master all of these energies, because they are energies, and in order for you to master these frequencies, because they are frequency, everything has a vibration. Everything has a frequency. This styling pen carries a certain frequency. The sound bowl carries a certain frequency. This mic carries a certain frequency. Everything carries a frequency. We hear it all the time. Some of us know it, that the earth natural frequencies, which is an indisputable other truth, is on 432 hertz. Depression has a frequency, and if you keep feeding it, guess what? That particular frequency is going to get stronger. Divine pure love have a frequency, and guess what? If you keep feeding it, it's going to get stronger. Anxiety, depression, all of these have energies, because what is energy in motion? And a lot of us hear that phrase or quote and we like, oh, energy in motion, I know it, blah 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 blah. You don't know it as well as you think you do, because if you did, you wouldn't be on the World Wide Web crying, bitching, moaning, and complaining. I don't have sympathy for people who are able. You mean to tell me you got all your limbs, all your fingers, all your toes, all your legs, everything in you is operable. You can walk, you can talk, you can see, you can hear, you can move, which means you're able. You telling me that you are able and that you would rather invest a lot of your energy into begging, borrow, and let me tell you something. Let me say another thing that's just true. I will be very mindful, and we also here be very mindful of the people you associate with, right? Because if someone will continually do that to you, I'm talking about the people who are unrighteously doing these things. I'm talking about the people who are knowingly, unjustly manipulating you and using sympathizing tactics are dangerous people to have around you, because people who do that, they're intentional about what they do. And remember what I said is that energy will always be exchanged. There's always an exchange for energy. That means that them people do not give a fuck about you. Do you think just because someone says that they love you and have their best and have your best interest that they actually do? For a lot of people, it's about a bottom line. It's about self-serving. It's about self-serving. And we're so easy, some of us are so easily tricked. Every time you exchange your energy, there's a consequence or a reward. Every time. So there's no such thing as, oh, you just haphazardly entertaining people like that. Right? I would imagine that a lot of you work real hard for your money. And just because you hear people saying, oh, this is for free and I give this for, understand the tricks and the tactics. This is also about self-mastery, and I teach you about these things. I teach you about these things. I even know that. There's no such thing as free. You are going to exchange something. And if you're living in this world, finances is going to be one thing that you exchange. However, if you are mature, if you are wise, you also would be mindful of when you're exchanging currency, especially because a lot of us are living scarce right now. A lot of us are living scarce. You mean to tell me you're going to give a portion of your hard-earned income to someone who is able, who can do something about it? Someone who can create on demand, who don't want to exchange no value for what they're asking you for. I would be very mindful of people like that. I would be very mindful of people who are advising you to do things that they're not currently doing. Just because they say I'm a qualified or whatever it is, I'm a certified this. Every other month you certified in a different field. Every other month you certified in life coach. Every other month you certified in this. Now you're this. Now you're that. And I'm like, damn, that's what happens. I mean, is that what happens? It's just the undesirable truth. You have a lot of people, a lot in this, baby. I don't have no sympathy for them. I don't have not an ounce of sympathy for them, baby. We are also warriors. Okay? I don't have no sympathy for people who are intentionally bamboozling people. I have no sympathy for you. No sympathy. Do I have compassion and empathy for you experiencing certain things? Absolutely, but I have no sympathy for you, right? Because you're charging people to teach them about what? Forgiveness, love, confidence, how to get the bag. Meanwhile, you are miserable. You're trying to teach people how to invest and you're miserable. You're trying to teach people how to do what and you're not doing it yourself. You're trying to teach people how to eat right and how to be healthy. And all of these things are attached to one another, right? Just because my left arm is on the opposite side of my right arm doesn't mean that they don't play an intricate part in the way my whole body moves. How are you charging me to teach you about confidence, baby, and you lack it? Baby, it's below 6 feet deep. How are you trying to teach me about being self-worth and you don't even think you're worthy? How are you trying to teach me about forgiveness when let me tell you something, a lot of people know our stories. First of all, people talk, and there are also people who understand how to operate in their spiritual gifts. How are you charging people and teaching, number one, teaching them things that you know nothing about? Number two, you're charging them currency for things you don't currently operate in. There comes a time where you got to say, you know what? I got to stop doing this. And if the person don't like you for telling the undesirable truth, baby, you just not gonna like me. You just not gonna like me. It's one thing to say something, baby. It's a whole entire different thing to live something. I live what I talk. I live what I talk. I live what I talk. And if you are one who I'm currently doing my master class, and I'm going to talk about the master class that we're doing, the master program, right? Any one of them can tell you. Any one of them can tell you. Any one of them. There's not one person that's still in their right mind that can tell you that I don't live the life that I walk. Because a few of them I became friends with. A few of them I became friends with. Right? Were there times, and there are times where you know you have to pull back to readjust and to do some things. Let me tell you something. I've been teaching for 15 plus years. I've also sat my ass down at certain periods because what? I was experiencing some things. How am I going to teach you about self-mastery when I'm on a journey or in a season to where I'm broken down? It's literally impossible. So guess what? I'm going to have integrity, and I'm going to have honor, and I'm going to have respect for myself, and I'm going to pull back. Right? Hi, Tamika. Hi, beautiful. Hi, Alicia. How y'all doing? So why is this important? Understanding scarcity, understanding depression, understanding loneliness, understanding confusion. Hi, my love. It's always good to see you, right? Gather your roses. She's been working for me for, I think it's been over a year. And I consider her a friend. I consider her a friend. There's several individuals who come to support the live who I now consider friends in reality, who can speak things that a lot of y'all aren't privy to, right? And it still displays integrity, righteousness, just infinite gratitude, right? So it's important to understand these things. Why? So you can stop falling into them. You don't have to be depressed all the time. You don't have to live in poverty all the time. You don't have to live in scarcity all the time. You don't. And honesty is always going to be the greatest policy and principle for you. Tell the truth, even if you don't verbalize it. But stop lying to yourself. We lie to ourselves all the time, and we put on a good show. I used to put on a good show, baby. People didn't know I was heavily, deeply depressed. People didn't know I was robbing Peter to pay Paul at the time. People didn't know how I was disgusted with myself. People didn't know that I had mommy issues and daddy issues. People did not know. First of all, I barely knew. However, you want to know the biggest reasons why they didn't know? I'm talking about things that I've been through, baby, because I made it look good. I made it look good. I made depression look so good and fabulous. Baby, the way I'm looking good now, and I tell y'all all the time, your eyes will deceive you. This is why you have to pay more attention to your innocence. Innocence, 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 sense, innocence. And you can only do that from within. Because when you're relying heavily on external stimuli, right? What you are reflecting can deceive you. What you hear can deceive you. What you're feeling, touching, tasting, it can deceive you. Do you know they got little tablets right now? And I was in the culinary world for a little bit, especially because my background in the army is I was a cook. Do you know they got tablets that can trick your sensory input, your taste buds, into thinking you're not eating something sour, and it tricks your mind and your taste buds to now think that you're eating something sweet, and the thing is actually sour. Right? So when you're not tapped in, when you're not feeding and nurturing your inner sense, your soul, your spirit, you become more susceptible to depression, to loneliness, to anxiety, to having mental flaw, right? To low self-esteem and lack of confidence and all of these things. It makes you susceptible. When your aura, when your frequency is weak, it makes you susceptible. So now everything that's coming at you is hitting you. Everything that's coming at you is mastering you, controlling you instead of you controlling it. And it's coming to you for a reason. Triggers arrive for a reason. They're indicators that you need to pay attention. When you have pain in your arm, Your body is letting you know that that particular area needs attention. When you have pain anywhere in your body, in your foot, in your back, it's your body notifying you. And sometimes it's your soul notifying you that that energy center may be blocked. Instead, we run from the notifications, i.e., triggers, right? We're controlled by the triggers. Why? Because our perspective is what? Triggers are harmful. Triggers are harmful. Triggers bring up depression and triggers all of these different things. When if you just change your perspective, when your higher self or your soul brings something up, you pay attention. When you don't have no physical control, no actual control, whenever you get around somebody handsome or somebody that's beautiful and gorgeous, when your lower self start speaking real loud and you move on that, it's controlling you instead of you controlling it. Being heavily depressed is not natural for us. It's not natural. Being deeply depressed ain't natural. Living in poverty ain't natural. Living in scarcity and fear ain't natural all the time. If you are experiencing any of those things more than you are not, it is unnatural. And your soul and your spirit is trying to notify you that there's an area in your heart that needs some attending to. There's areas in your neurological system that needs attending to. There's areas in your body that needs attending to. And unless you are working with someone who is qualified, peace, Toya, how are you, my love? Unless you are working with someone who is qualified, I'll say it again, qualified to mentor you in the areas that you want to master, you are wasting your most invaluable gift, which is your energy, your essence. And if you think that your life here doesn't have a completion date, you are sadly mistaken, because we say it all the time. I don't say this quote or phrase. However, there's truth to it. Some people say, "Oh, life is short." I don't think life is short. However, I do know that our life here, our time here has a completion date, right? And you get to choose how you live it from the beginning to the completion. You get to choose that. Yes, you deserve what you need, right? There's certain things that you need to know. So when it comes to, and I know there's an overwhelming amount of courses, classes, dot, dot, dot. I don't need to say this. However, I do, just because I know I'm speaking to mentally diverse individuals. I know absolutely, Sing, absolutely. I know that I'm talking to individuals who are mentally on different levels, who are on different life levels, who are on different spiritual levels. Just because there is an abundance in of something, courses, classes, teachers, coaches, mentors, therapists, dot, 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 does not mean that you have to pay all of them attention. It does not mean that. You should be wisely vetting anybody who you are connected to. Anybody, especially individuals who are mentoring you in any way. Because a lot of you, respectfully, I say this with all sincerity, a lot of your favorite mentors and coaches are simply just not in a place where they can exchange certain invaluable information and it benefit you if you start to apply it. How long are you going to keep on talking about and investing in healing and preparing yourself for a healthy relationship, any relationship, preparing yourself to receive more money, right? Preparing yourself for opportunities. Peace, Uma. How are you, my love? Cooking with Ro. How are you, my love? Right? When you are missing when you are missing fundamental steps. But a lot of us, we're so desperate and we're so eager to be in a relationship, to be touched, to be romance, to exchange actual pleasures, right? To be able to call your person, to vent to your person, to express to your person, to grow with your person. A lot of us want more financial wealth. A lot of us want more opportunities, and it's nothing unhealthy about that. However, if you keep skipping the most invaluable imperative steps, guess what? Things are going to get worse. Why? How many relationship courses, how to attract the man, the money, the woman, how many of those are you going to take before you understand that there's something missing? There's something missing. If you don't understand, I'm not talking about just read about it. If you do not understand mental program, if you do not understand neural networks, how your neurological system works, how your biological system works, how your chemical, so if you do not have a foundational, fundamental grasp on these things that has everything to do with why you're behaving the way you do, why you think the way you do, why you're moved, why you keep constantly on that hamster wheel going backwards real fast. If you never understand that, you're wasting your time. It's not to take digs at anybody. There's just certain fundamental principles that you need to understand, especially when it comes to universal laws, principles, and frequencies that govern everything above, below, and in between. There's no skipping that. I know some of these people personally. A lot of y'all know some of these people personally. There's no skipping certain steps. How wise are you if you're talking about, well, yeah, I don't really get into all of that energy and frequency shit and all that spooky shit. Do you not understand that you're talking about you? How can you not get into you? Again, this is what I'm speaking about with mental programming. You've been mentally programmed and you've been unknowingly or knowingly feeding that same program that entities have created to keep you enslaved for so long. Now you talking crazy about you. What the hell do you mean? I don't get into energy and frequency. And now we just talking just to fucking talk. Oh, the universe and this. Baby, you don't believe that. You still think Jesus coming to save you. With all due respect. You still think that somebody in the sky is coming to save you. You're still giving an outside entity all of the praise, all of the glory. When do you say, you know what? I'm proud of myself that I did. It's everything God did. Won't he do it? Baby, how about won't you do it? Hi, son. Is that hi, mom? Unique, is that you? Black out. You changed your name, right? Keishwell, how are you, my love? Right? You never take ownership or credit for you. You're constantly giving it to someone else or something else. And then you make all the justification, rhymes, and reasons as to why you don't have the gifts and the pleasures of life, why you're not living your heaven now. You think that you have to suffer all the time in order to get something good. When do you take credit for doing the things that you do? It ain't nothing, there is nothing wrong or unrighteous or unhealthy about giving gratitude to the infinite source of creation. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you are constantly just all of your efforts, it's because of some other entity, how are you ever going to step into your power? How are you ever going to claim your power if you think it is the act and the choice of something outside of you? Man. So when I seen the young lady earlier today, I didn't have empathy for her. I did not have empathy for her because this is the same young lady who is before me speaking about, I just need a break. I don't want to hear nothing. Don't contact me. Don't ask me why. Just don't look for her. Right. And the things, just to hear the conversations, the mentality, right? Just 2 weeks ago or a month ago, you was boasting and bragging and promoting giving your body to random men. And it was all fun and games. It was joke. You just had to get your kitty wet. You just had to, you a woman or you a man. You just had to get it. And you just have to get an exchange, right? Somebody have to be giving you something, right? You got to give me this to get that. Like you gotta look good. You gotta be 6 feet. You gotta not only have six figures, but you gotta give me some of that money. You gotta take me to a special restaurant. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You gotta give, 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 give. Where's the accountability? Where's the accountability? If you think fluids are only exchanged when you share your body with someone else, you are sadly mistaken. And then you wondering why a month later you're sad. You're deeply sad. You're deeply depressed, right? Now you're experiencing all these types of turmoils. Well, baby, you just exchanged and took upon yourself not only his energy frequencies, not knowing if that man is mentally ill, mentally unstable, or that woman is mentally ill, mentally unstable, emotionally unstable, spiritually unstable. You don't know if they're experiencing their karma in that particular season. You don't know what's going on in their body, in their mind. You don't know what their line of. You don't know anything about. You don't know every time you connect yourself with someone sexually. Fluids are not the only thing that's exchanged, baby. You also are accepting his ancestral karma. And if he is not in the process or have undergone a breaking or changing of that cycle, guess what? He now transferred it right to you. He now transferred it right to you. She now transferred it right to you. So not only are you worried about the things that you were recently depressed about, you were recently responsible for, you were recently lonely about, all the things that you were going through, now you just indirectly added on. You added on more depression. You added on more weight. You added on more sorrow. And now you get to the point where you on the World Wide Web, on social media, crying, telling the same people who supported you don't bother you, don't worry, and the same just bitching, moaning, begging. That happens a lot. Baby, would you think? Let me tell you something. Every decision you make, there's either going to be a consequence or a reward. So if you think you can just continually keep making unwise choices, if you think you can continually have stinking thinking, if you think you can continually thrive on the backs and the work of other people, if you think you can just continually unrighteously, unjustly manipulate others for your self-serving needs, if you think you can continually play deaf, dumb, stupid, blind, docile, if you think you can continually keep making the same decisions, if you think you can continually not invest in your self-development, your soul development, your mental development, if you think you can just continue doing all of these things, baby, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. And guess what? It is the truth. You want to know one of the reasons why it's the truth? You're telling everybody. That's number one. Number two, the receipts of your reality ain't lying, baby. They ain't lying. Somehow your reality ain't lining up with who you keep hollering that you are, who you keep saying you are, who you keep dressing like you are, who you keep talking like you are. Baby, the receipts ain't adding up. And let me tell you something, there's a such thing as, we all have the gift of sense, energy sense, right? Some of us call it what do we call it? A lot of us call it what's the word I'm looking for? Come on, loves, help me out. Empath. A lot of us call it empath. What do you think an empath is? my loves? What do you think an empath is? What do you think empathic is? Empathy. What do you think that is? A highly sensitive person. A highly sensitive person. You want to know why we're highly sensitive? The prerequisite sense. If you have a spirit, if you have a soul, you are going to be connected to the infinite source of this oneness. We all have this. We can sense things. Some of us you may not be able to put the exact word, title, phrase, whatever it is on it, but baby, it will never lie to you. Your heart will never lie to you or never deceive you. It's impossible. Whether you're vibrating in loneliness, hopelessness, hopefulness, it don't matter. It's all you. So don't tell me you didn't have a sense. You don't have a sense of direction. You don't. No one on this planet lacks sense. At a foundation level, at a foundational level, none of us lack sense. If you are a soul, if you are a spirit operating in this avatar, baby, you have sense. You can sense. There's no such thing as you not having it. So it's important, if you plan on overcoming depression, fear, scarcity, if you plan on creating lasting effects, if you plan on reclaiming your personal power. I'm not talking about just saying all of these things. I'm talking about living them, experiencing them. Okay? Not just talking about it. Are you living in it? No, a lot of us aren't. We just are not. That's the truth. Improving our emotional and mental and spiritual soulful well-being to align ourselves with more of what we actually want and less of what we don't want. That takes awareness and on a deeper level. Right? So scarcity is the perception that there's insufficiency somewhere, that you're insufficient in something. When you are constantly worrying about money, that means that there's an insufficiency in you. It means that you're insufficient of resources. And you're very much capable of changing that. Right? When you are living with hopelessness, there's an insufficiency within you that says that you are hopeless. Somewhere along the lines that you don't, there's a reason why you may not be experiencing hopefulness, self-full love. And one of the things that are at the baseline of that is we don't really understand it. We hear a lot about it, right? However, how do you think you're going to become a physician if you, one, never go to the proper school, if you never learn, and if you never train? Tell me, does it make sense? If you want to become a physician, if you want to become a doctor, please tell me, why would you go to get certified as an electrician? Like, a lot of these things really are simple. We complicate it. We really do complicate it. That sounds crazy, right? If you know damn well you want to experience more peace, if you know that you want to attract more opportunities, if you know you don't want to be in that miserable ass job anymore, if you know you want to forge healthy relationships, not only with yourself, but with other people, no matter in what capacity. If you know this, why do you keep skipping steps? Why? It's never going to work that way. You can't go apply no damn job to become a doctor and you got a certificate in engineering or a PhD in engineering. What hospital gonna hire you? What clinic is gonna hire you? It's not how it works. You got a lot of people trying to why do you think they created and don't please don't misunderstand me or misinterpret what I'm about to say. I have nothing against certifications. However, it was another tactic of the elites because they understood that they understood that degrees wasn't working the way they wanted to, the way they intended it to continue working, right? People started to realize that they PhDs wasn't getting them the job that they wanted, the salary that they wanted, right? People started to realize that the paper didn't matter. It no longer mattered what school you went to. People started to awake and to realize that wait a minute, I'm in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt for what? Now don't misunderstand me. There are certain qualifications that you need depending on what you want to be qualified in, what you want to master, and what you want to practice. However, why do you think there's been so many certification schools? Everybody giving us everybody, oh, you can get a piece of paper right here. And then we're hooping and hollering and we're bragging about it as if you really did the fucking work. You take a 6-week program and now you're a master. Now you're an expert. Where's the investment that you've been trained? And that's not it. Now, if you were inspiring people without asking for an exchange of currency, if you are motivating people without asking for a currency exchange, if you were teaching people without asking for a currency exchange, shame on you. Shame on you. And now is everybody is a coach. Everybody is a this. Everybody has a damn piece of paper that's a certified. Again, please do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying there's no dig certifications. If you work for it, you own it. But how dare you charge someone for a service and you 3 weeks, and you trying to teach somebody how to get out of depression. You're trying to teach somebody how to master their emotions. You're trying to teach somebody about neuroscience. You're trying to teach somebody about awareness, and you don't know what you don't know nothing about it. Nothing. It is what it is. That I have a problem with. I mean, to a degree, I have a problem with because to a person who doesn't quite know things that they need to know, for a person that is really desperate to get out of depression and to get out of loneliness and to just defeat things, for a person who really just want to overcome some things, it's disingenuous for you to charge them and you clean 3 weeks into learning what you need to learn. Where's the training that you have? And a lot of these people aren't even meditating skillfully. They're not receiving no new information, right? They're asking you to pay for books that ChatGPT wrote. No training. You can't even give me the summary of your damn book, what's in it. No downloads, no fresh downloads, no rejuvenation, no spiritual elevation, no ascension. You're not reading, you're not studying, but you're charging people money. I have an issue with that. I take issue with that. And this is why I say that please start paying attention to who you're connected with. Unless you just want pity parties, unless you just want sorrow, unless you just want to be sorry, unless you just want to continue evolving because you're not devolving, pardon me, because you're not evolving. Remember what I said a minute ago? Every decision, every choice you make, there's going to be a reward or consequence. And a lot of us are crashing and burning because we've made so many poor decisions. So many poor decisions, knowingly, unknowingly, most knowingly. So many poor decisions. And if you think you're also not going to have consequences for shaping the life of someone else, because we are always exchanging energies, whether you like it or not. There is a such thing as manipulated energies. But if you, there's a thing also where if you're doing it in righteousness or if you're doing it in unrighteousness, one of our primary goals and being on this realm, I have come to know, not just believe, that you are here to also understand and learn how to manipulate energies, especially when it comes to yourself. I'm gonna give you an example. When you are feeling sad and you want to feel happy, you have to do what? Manipulate that frequency of sadness, right? You have to now manipulate is what? It's the principle of changing. It's the principle of altering. So when you do not understand what manipulation truly is, if you're only if you're only thinking it from a lopsided perspective, you're missing the whole point. So it's nothing wrong with or unhealthy or unrighteous about manipulating. What makes it what makes it unrighteous or unjust is when you are unjustly or poorly or selfishly manipulating even yourself or others for personal gain in some way. That's what makes it unrighteous. And that, my dear, is going to bring to you consequences that a lot of you are not able to maintain. Hence, why many of us are hitting the wall now. Why many of us, just like that young lady, is on social media crying, begging, lying, just for what? Because now the consequences is so strong, but they kept doing it. They kept repeating the same things. They kept just knowingly or unknowingly playing with other people's lives. They kept making poor decisions. And now you're crying about, how did you get here? You don't want to be bothered no more. Now you want to shut out the whole world. Now you don't have no motivation, no inspiration. Right? Yeah, it is tough, right? Yes, a lot. So, Toya, a lot of us, yeah, we just never dealt with self. There is a code of conduct for professions, laws, ethics, boundaries. Absolutely. I agree. I realize people using AI for everything. And it's not to say that AI isn't helpful. It's not to say that AI isn't helpful. I use AI sometimes. However, I would feel such a conviction if I use AI to write any of my 3 books that I self-published. One became bestseller on Amazon, which required a lot of work. I would feel such a conviction if I just had AI to write a whole book and I just tweaked a little bit, because whether AI write it for you or you write it yourself, there's some tweaking you got to do. But $30, baby, $40 for something you did not genuinely, I would feel convicted in my spirit. I would feel convicted in my soul. I would feel convicted. And I like my sleep. I love my sleep, actually. I want to sleep peacefully because things build. And then you wondering why a lot of us are experiencing a lot of hell, quote unquote hell. You wondering why a lot of us are experiencing a lot of mishaps, why a lot of people are not messing with us no more, don't want to be bothered with us no more, don't want to be our friends no more, don't want to be our parents no more, don't want to be our children no more, don't want to be our significant others no more. A lot of that isn't because they don't know who they are, that they're depressed or they're jealous or it has reached this. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes it's just you continually making poor decisions, continually lying to yourself and lying to other people, continually. Man, yeah, I don't feel sorry for you. No. Absolutely not. So when we don't understand our own biology, our own makeup, especially when it comes to creating new behavior patterns, especially when it comes to connecting the dots, right? The only way behaviors change is if you start to reprogram your dominant mental database that you have been feeding for decades. And it has become so strong that the minute you decide to do something different, especially when you do not have a grasp or deep understanding as to what's going to happen to your mind, to your body, to your spirit, which I'm not going to go into it too much because that's going to be a next our next lesson actually is coming up in my master program. The pre, during, and post process on the no lesson 5 is sensory inputs, lesson 6, and the master program that we're going over, we're going to be covering lesson 6, the pre, during, and post process. A lot of us give up easily because we don't understand what's happening when we want to now change our behaviors. And hoping, wishing, and praying ain't gonna cut it. Okay, it just ain't gonna cut it. A lot of us are in alignment, a lot of us are misaligned, okay, when it comes to abundance and all of these different things, right? And so here's the part where I invite you. Here's the part where I invite you. If you want to learn the things that I'm teaching, if you want to overcome depression and loneliness and anxiety, if you want to not only forge a healthier relationship with yourself, but others, if you really are ready to do the work, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, because that's what it's going to require. That's what it's going to be. That's what's going to require you being uncomfortable and you being okay that you're going to be uncomfortable. If you are ready, I encourage you, and I'm offering an opportunity for you to join our next Creating Your Desired Reality Master Program. We start in January 11th, 1/11. That's my favorite number, by the way. Powerful. If any of you know about numerology and gematria, um, you understand how powerful numbers are. Everything is frequency, right? This is a month-long program. We meet 40 to 60 minutes. You will have a total of 9 master lessons. It's not just me, you listening to me. It is hands-on. All of them have exercises, all of them have activities, and we do the work together. We also have a Q&A at the end of it, so you can ask any questions that you have. We meet Sunday evenings and Tuesday evenings, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, excluding holidays, and we make an exception to meet a day prior or 2 days, not prior, a day prior or a day after, right? And so I'll have some receipts for you. I'm not really big on posting receipts as of now. However, I am getting better with that. I'll have some reviews for you coming soon to let you know from the 16 people that is currently in the Creating Your Desired Master Program, how it's truly helping them. I have got really great reviews thus far, and their reviews are submitted anonymously. So I don't know who's saying what, right? However, what I can tell you is that the reviews thus far has been really, really helpful. And I can tell that a lot of the individuals that are showing up, that are doing the work. I mean, we laugh, we joke, we do the things, but we are real serious about changing our life. A lot of their realities are changing for the better. Okay, so it is an offer. If you are interested, click the link in my bio. You can read more information. Okay, it is extremely, extremely beneficial for you, and it is extremely affordable. That's another thing. It's affordable. If you are an educator, a student of life, if you have ever took a course or class from me, if you ever supported me for long durations of time, if you haven't heard the information that I'm speaking about for the first time, you know that there are philosophers, right? There are philosophers, there are master teachers out there teaching you the very same thing that I'm teaching you, only you don't have access to them. Only a lot of us are unable to, at the time, to afford them. Remember what I said. There is always going to be an exchange. Always going to be an exchange. The information, if you click the link in my and if you click the link in my bio, it's the very first screen. I will turn my camera around. So, oh, you know what? I can't do that because I am streaming live. Okay, hold. You know what? TikTok. Let me do this. Okay, so I put out the offer for all of you who are visiting me right now on YouTube. The same applies if you are interested in this master program, learning, just gaining some more information as to what it offers. You are more than welcome to. The link is in my bio. It's going to lead you to my my tree, and there you can access more information. And if you have any questions, there is an email. You can email me, and I will respond to you. TikTok, hold on. So for YouTube, infinite gratitude. Thank you so much for being here on Thursday nights, ATM, all things self mastery. Until next Thursday, I will see you all very soon.